Welcome to Color Commentary, a podcast where the stories shaping our world are told in black and white first, and then we dig into their deeper meaning in full color. Each week, I'll be bringing you the facts like this. First, we'll start with what I call the black and white section, a clear, straight-shooting rundown of the facts in a tradition of greats like Ed Bradley, Walter Cronkite, and the classic voices of journalism. Then we'll shift into the color commentary section, where I will add my own personal opinions and insights. Sometimes it'll just be me, sometimes we'll have guests, but let's figure that out together and build out the show that we want it to be. And we do that with your feedback, so please give that feedback. Let's get into it. We love celebrating Black excellence, and we should. The first Black CEO, the first Black partner, historic appointments. These matter. In fact, at the time I graduated with my doctorate in education from San Francisco State, our cohort was the most Black of all time that had graduated in that field at that point. These are victories. I want to be really clear about that. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. Black excellence stopped being about actual excellence and started being about performing a version of Blackness that makes the ruling class comfortable. And I need to tell you something that might be unpopular. Sometimes you just gotta be professional. It just is what it is and not dependent on vibes and vibes alone. Here are the facts in black and white. Black professionals are celebrated for firsts and onlys constantly. First Black CEO, only Black partner, historic appointment. These are real achievements that took real work and broke real barriers. The narrative of Black excellence dominates our social media, our news coverage, our cultural conversations, and more. We're told that representation matters, that seeing someone who looks like you in positions of power changes everything. And those are facts. And I believe in them, and I'm proud of these moments. I'm proud of these moments for us as a people, for me individually, and everything in between. That's the black and white of it all. Now let's talk about it. Let's dive a little deeper. Let's color it in. You're listening to Color Commentary with Dr. Cole. I have a few different thoughts on this topic. See, there's something that I call the performance problem. There's this thing I like to call the performance problem. See, there's a version of Black excellence that's become popular in corporate America, in academia, in predominantly, let's say, ruling class institutions, and it's not real excellence. It's turned into performance. It's Black professionals who've figured out exactly what the managerial class thinks a successful Black person should look and sound like, and they perform it. But here's the thing. The performance goes both ways. And some people are performing being more Black than they actually are, and it shows. And when I said more Black, I did quotations, right? Because nobody necessarily defines Blackness, and there is an inherent issue in that comes with that. Because people have an idea of what that is, and then they try to play into it. But you can spot it, and you can spot it immediately. They start using slang they never used growing up. They're updating their vocabulary because a new phrase is trending on TikTok. They walk into team meetings talking about clock that T, or whatever the phrase of the week is. And I'm looking at this corporate or suburban brother and thinking, bruh, you just lost all credibility with all the real Black people in this room. For one, I'm gonna be very honest in this episode. For one, that language is for Black women and gay men, okay? You might hear some brothers using it, but usually they're doing it kind of ironically, like they're in on the joke, okay? So we can already kind of tell that's not really the environment that you're from. Real recognize real, and right now the emperor has no clothes. So I just want to, I'm going off script here because I've seen this happen. I've been in very corporate or like highfalutin areas, right? Like in situations, in boardrooms. And you see that person and they come in and they trying to sound like they down and got this struggle. And you just don't have to do that. It's not on you, it's in you. But you can tell when people start performing it. Or you can tell when those that want to be seen as an ally try to use Black vernacular and they get stuff wrong. And my thing is, Be authentic to who you are. You don't have to do that. We're not a costume to put on and take off at your convenience. So something happens when real shows up. Cat Williams has a very famous like comedy line where he was like, yeah, a Chrysler 300 looks like a Bentley until a Bentley shows up. You understand? There are some things that happen when the Bentley shows up. And then someone genuinely authentic walks in. They're not performing. They're not code switching for comfort. They're not playing the game. They're just being excellent while being themselves. And everyone gets uncomfortable. Because real Black excellence, the kind that doesn't perform, doesn't code switch for comfort, doesn't smooth out the edges, that makes people uncomfortable. The cosplay version of Black excellence exists to make the ruling class feel good about their diversity efforts. The real version exists despite those efforts. There's this term, and I don't love this term. I'm gonna get there, and it's gonna be uncomfortable for a lot of people. But there's a term for this, and it's called the acceptable Negro. It's the Black person who's successful enough to be celebrated, but safe enough to not be threatening. They excel within the rules. They don't question the rules, and they definitely don't try to change the rules. They speak the language of corporate diversity, inclusion, belonging, allyship, without ever really challenging the power structure that made diversity necessary in the first place. And let me also extend this conversation, because I'm not just talking to Black people. I'm not just talking to Black men. I'm talking to people that are fundamentally trying to change who they are to fit into what they deem as the social zeitgeist of the day. I'm gonna keep referencing Black people and Black men because that's what I am. And because as somebody who does run a company, because of somebody who does have a few degrees, I've been mistaken at times for the acceptable Negro. And what happens is they have a coda of what that is. And when me and my true authenticity shows up, everybody is really uncomfortable. And I can tell because they're breaking rules. They're saying things or they're being aggressive in places that have real consequences outside of these walls. So I feel like I have some credibility to speak on this. The cosplay version of Black excellence has a checklist. Celebrate your Blackness, but not too loudly. Reference the culture, but keep it digestible. Talk about your struggles, but make them inspirational, not indicting. Be proud, but not militant. Be confident, but not threatening. Be successful, but graceful. It's excellence on a leash. Now, and this is where I tend to fall out of that conversation because I don't know if I do any of those things by these rules. Maybe some, but I don't know. I tend to be the person that has to get talked to a lot at times, right? But this is why this matters, right? We're talking about this because it creates a false binary. It tells young Black people that to be successful, you have to perform this particular version of Blackness. Not too Black, not too white, just Black enough to count for diversity metrics, but safe enough to not make anyone question why diversity was needed in the first place. The trap isn't achieving. The trap isn't excelling in white spaces. The trap is thinking you have to become a performance to do it. And once you do it, you're better than the people that are from where you come from. That's the trap. The trap is watching someone cosplay Black excellence and get rewarded for it, while someone being genuinely excellent while Black gets labeled as difficult or not a cultural fit. Listen, I got some good feedback on some of the last episodes of when I'm very direct and honest about my experiences, it brings you closer to the episode. So let me do that, right? Like, because I really come from shelters. I really come from acute poverty. Not acute, not like it's cute like a little monkey. Acute, like it's a very sharp and real poverty. And I remember being coached about how to talk about those experiences for people so it doesn't make them uncomfortable. And I get into these rooms and a lot of people don't know where I really came from. So you see when that other person, that other hip person, and again, it's not even always a Black person. It could be a brown person, a white person, an Asian person. It could be anybody. But then you see them performing. And then somehow who I really am comes out, and now they're uncomfortable because they know that they playing a character. And I'm not, this is not to shame anybody, because I understand what people are willing to go through to survive and to thrive in a culture. But it's misleading young people. And that's the whole impetus for this episode. I was talking to young people that are watching some of these people on TV performing, or some of these people be extra ghetto for the sake of just being extra ghetto. And then they are trying to emulate that, and it's getting them in real trouble. They're losing out on real opportunities because they're focusing more on the vibe than becoming excellent in their craft. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so it's just really important for me to talk about this. We're living in an age where Gen Z has stolen urban Black vernacular. Some of them don't even know it. They just think it's just how they talk. I'm seeing the liliest of white kids. I'm seeing the goldenness of kids that grew up in suburbs. And again, none of these things are bad. There's nothing wrong if you got good parents that have raised you in a nice environment. It's not. So I just want to be very clear about this. But they're starting to gentrify language, and it's working well for them. But here's what they don't tell you. What works for them will turn punitive for you. When one of these suburban kids or non-Black people uses language like that, you know, that's cool or relatable, and when you see it, when you use it, especially if you're performing it, you're going to be seen as unprofessional and not serious. The same language that gets celebrated when they use it will get weaponized when you use it. The same over-reliance that they get to do on their emotional state or their mental health in the moment and things of that nature, there's a privilege some of those people have and experience that allows them to get that off. When you do it and you're not excellent at the job or the task or the goal that you have, you become expendable. You become an expendable problem. I'm speaking from experience of what I have seen. Corporate America loves to tell you to bring your authentic self to work. It's in every diversity training, every inclusion initiative, every company value statement. And here's the thing, I believe in diversity. I think it makes everything better in a lot of different ways. But these are some of the things that are hurting it. There's been more focus on vibes than becoming actually excellent. Let me be clear. Do not trust these organizations, companies, and work friends with your authentic self. It is a trap. It is a trap. They want a sanitized version of your authenticity, a version that makes them feel good, not you. And they will use it against you when it's convenient. We all do it. Let me give you an example. People like gangster movies. I love gangster movies. I want to go and I want to see Pacino and De Niro, but on the screen. I don't want real clear and present danger in front of me. Are you crazy? I'm going to a movie to be entertained. All I'm telling you, kid, is don't be the entertainment at your job. Don't be the entertainment at your school. Don't be the entertainment at your social club. You are not put here to be the social jester. You think I'm being cynical. I'm really just being experienced. See, I'm about to talk a little bit about how I know these things to be true. Like, I've been in these situations. I've seen it. I've had my authenticity used against me. I have. And let me be clear. There's been times where it has worked in the moment, but there have also been times where you've been coached. Let me give you an example. When I was going to college and I was applying for colleges, and you got to write these essays, and I wrote my college essays. And every counselor that looked at my college essays coached, trained, and pushed me to talk about how horrible it was, the way in which I was growing, the way in which I grew up. Now, there was a means to that end, and I don't shame or fault those people for having me do it. It just was what it was. But there's an ickiness to that, right? I got to give you poverty porn to get into your college? Like my 383 ain't good enough? Y'all are a state school. It becomes the sideshow of the thing that we're actually here to do at times. But I'm going to help you all out, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about what it cost me. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just talk about what it cost me now, right? It cost a few different things. One, you learn really quickly that those people are not your friends. They don't need to know everything about you. Two, learn how to start using those parts of your life to benefit you. If you're doing it in a way and you know what you're doing and it's benefiting you, then I call that strategy. But when you lose control of it and you don't know why you're doing it, you run a real risk of becoming the minstrel. But in this episode, I've done some work for you. We just talked about all this highfalutin education that I got. Well, damn it, I've created a framework for you. We've layered this thing out. So we'll get there in a moment, okay? Be patient with me. But here's what I'm saying to you, and I want you to hear me. Return to professionalism. Lean more on your performance and ability and less on the vibes. Because when you really got the vibes, you ain't got to lean on it. It's just there. It's just in you, baby. It's just there. You don't have to perform who you truly are. And this is about you loving yourself and trusting yourself enough to just be you. You don't need to update your slang because a new phrase is trending. You don't need to perform blackness to prove you're black or brownness to prove you're brown. You don't need to code switch backwards to seem authentic. Just be excellent at what you do. Be professional and be strategic. Let's bring that word into the conversation. Because excellence doesn't need a soundtrack. It don't need slang. It just needs your performance. It just needs you to be. Now, when I say professional, I don't mean code switching to sound white, whatever that means. I don't mean abandoning who you are. I mean understanding that work is work. These aren't your friends. School is school. You might be friendly with these people, and some of these people might be your friends, but that structure or place is not your friend. This isn't your community. This is your employment. This is your place of education. This is your social club. It changes, but it fits whatever age group you in. You can be you without falling into a minstrel show, B. You can be you without overperforming a heightened version of yourself. There's a place and a time for everything. And I say all this from experience. I'm a very outspoken person. I always have been. And if that outspoken nature has worked in favor of power, it gets elevated. But when it doesn't, it can turn against you very, very quickly and in a very abrupt way. I have suffered from that multiple times. There's a price to pay for being outspoken. Sometimes you get glory. Most of the time, you get gloom. So there was a time when Black professionals knew how to navigate better. We've lost something along these lines. In the last decade or so, some of my people have really, truly lost this. And that means that it's not getting passed down to this younger generation that's coming up. We're not teaching them how to be savvy. Let me give you some examples. To my beautiful viewers that's listening, to my very smart, intelligent crowd, I ask you, do you really think Barack Obama was against gay marriage the first time he ran for office? Like, do you really think that? No part of me thinks that. But he was being politically strategic. He knew in order to advocate for that type of change, he had to actually get the office. He had to be elected first. He still operated as someone that was staunchly left in the primaries and moved center for the general election. That's not being fake, that's being strategic. Or take Tom Brady and Draymond Green. They were on LeBron James' show on HBO called The Shop. I love this episode because I learned a lot. It's actually a lot of the inspiration for this actual episode that we're doing right now. Because they were having a conversation. And Draymond basically said he's always authentic and it gets him in trouble. He gets fined or whatever, right? And Tom Brady perked up and was like, really? Like he was shocked. And he was shocked because he responded to Draymond and everybody else in the barber chairs on the panel. He was like, well, this is what Tom Brady said. He said, what I say versus what I think are two totally different things. I would say 90% of what I say is probably not what I'm thinking. He went on to explain that he uses the press to throw off his opponents because he really wants to crush everyone and everything that he plays against, everything that's in his way. Tom Brady is trying to annihilate you. He is trying to get you out of here. Same with Michael Jordan. Brady said, from a strategic standpoint, I never want to give away what we're doing. I usually just say the opposite. There's a lesson to be learned there, y'all. Brady is one of the greatest athletes to ever play. and he understood something fundamental. And he also became one of the greatest athletes of football of all time without being athletic. Tom Brady is slow as shit. He will tell you this. I'm getting a little excited. Let me bring it back down. You don't have to give people access to your real thoughts to be successful. In fact, being strategic about what you reveal is part of what made him great. And if you master it, it'll be something that makes you great. The world is not owed every single truth of yours, and we have to dispel that. The black people that I love in my life, we got to dispel it because it's this myth is getting us into some wild shit. You can be excellent, you can be respected, you can be successful without giving them every single intimate detail of who you are and in your life, because your authentic self isn't for sale. Save that for your family. Save that for your girl or your guy, your wife or your husband, your kids, your grandparents. Save that intimate part for people that truly love you and that really do give a damn about you. You using that all up out in the world and you a shell of yourself at home. That's not okay. That's not good. Say that for spaces where you are actually safe. I'm going to retract that sentence, and I don't want you to take it out, Tommy. I want them to hear, because I don't believe in safe spaces. It's not a thing. There's no such thing. It's just some shit that therapists thought up and people say to get you to start telling your business. I guarantee you that the person telling you it's a safe space, you don't know a lot about them. I guarantee you that they not doing the same with you. All I'm saying, before I get into this framework that I built for you all, I got to use some of this scholarly stuff somewhere, right? But let me wrap this part up before we move into this next section. Take this as you will. You can be authentic without being performative. There's a difference. But we need to redefine what authenticity actually means, because authenticity operates on different levels. I got you, though. I built a framework. Let me break this down for you. I'm going to call these the 3 layers of authenticity. We got to trademark that. Layer 1, the core, your non-negotiables. This is who you are at your foundation, your values, your mission, your commitment to your community, the people you love. This layer doesn't change based on where you are or who's watching. This is what guides your decisions when nobody else is looking. It's your integrity. Be true to yourself here. Be true to the people you love. Be true to your personal missions. This is your integrity. This is what you stand on. This layer is sacred. It is not negotiable. There is no negotiation inside of layer 1, the core. Now, layer 2, the strategic self, your professional navigation. This is the layer most people confuse with being fake. It's not. This is understanding that work is business. These ain't your little friends. This ain't your community. This is employment. This is education. This is a social club. You got to keep a strategic layer there. Not lying, being strategic. Not fake, being smart. Tom Brady saying the opposite of what he's thinking to throw off opponents, that's layer 2. Barack Obama being politically strategic about gay marriage to get elected so he can actually create that change, that's layer 2. You protecting yourself by not giving your employer ammunition, that's layer 2. This layer isn't about becoming a pathological liar, okay? Don't take my words and go off and let your shadow side take over. That's not what I'm telling you to do. It's about being strategic and getting your goals met while protecting yourself. You can be genuinely excellent. You can be true to your values. You can be successful without giving these institutions full access to your thoughts, feelings, and vulnerabilities. That's not being fake. That's being wise. And now finally, layer 3, the intimate self, full vulnerability, baby. This is where you let your guard all the way down. This is for the people you actually love and trust. Your family, your real friends, your lady, your guy, your kids, your community. The people who've earned access to all of you. This is where you can be tired, where you can be angry, where you can be vulnerable, where you can say what you really think without calculating the costs as much. This layer is precious. This layer is protected. And this layer is not for your workplace. And is not for your school institution either. Okay? But let's talk about the mistakes we've made. I included. The mistakes of the last decade is that corporate America convinced us to bring layer 3 to layer 2 context. Bring your whole self to work. Be authentic. Share your truth. They asked us to bring our intimate, vulnerable selves into spaces that don't deserve that access, into spaces that will weaponize that same vulnerability. And too many of us did it. And now we're learning the hard way that business is business. Hey man, these layoffs gotta come. But I told you about the issue with me and my wife. Yeah, and we still got budget cuts. I don't know what to tell you. I told you about the toll racism has been taking on my soul. Yeah, but see, DEI initiatives have changed and Trump is in office and we can't really have that around here. And since you kind of, we kind of hired you because of that, you see the problem? I'm telling you, people have been getting these wake-up calls. Tommy, and Tommy's our producer. I know y'all out there, you can't see him. You don't even see me, but I like to talk to Tommy. This is what we do. But Tommy, there's a report about all these black people losing their jobs in government, and they put an emphasis on black women losing their jobs in government because there's a new regime in there. And this is what I'm talking about. And it's not fair. It's not right. And we should be learning from situations. Smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And in this case, I would say society, because I don't blame any of those people that got let go. We were all in the cultural zeitgeist of the moment. And there's been a cultural shift beneath our feet. Now, I'm optimistic that there will be a new regime at some point. There will be another democratic regime at some point, and liberalism will return and democracy will return in full valor. And maybe these things will shift back. Or maybe they won't. But regardless, you now have the experience of this decade. So act accordingly is all I'm telling you. Just know where you at and know the risk that you make. And if you still choose to take that risk, God bless you. I have no judgment on any of it. But what my job is in this episode is to be honest, because I work with young people and they're watching things and they're processing these things incorrectly. And we so concerned with our own stuff and our own mess, we're not properly correcting them or setting them up to be successful. Like I said, at the end of the day, business is business. But here's how the layers work together. Let's show you in practice. Layer 1 guides everything. Your values, your mission, your commitment to community. That's always operating. Layer 2 is how you navigate. You're strategic about what you reveal, what you say, how you move. You're protecting yourself while working towards your goals. Layer 3 is where you rest, where you're fully yourself without calculation, but only with people who've earned that trust from you. All 3 layers are authentic. All 3 layers are you, but they serve different purposes in different contexts. You could be true to yourself while being strategic about what you reveal. It's not fake. That's understanding that business is business and your authentic self is precious and should be protected. And I keep saying business is business because I'm a Black person who cares about the advancement of Black people. And we have to get back to Black business. And Black business should be Black business. What do I mean by that? It means that we need to get back to being strategic and not emotional. It means that we need to set goals and march forward. It means that we need to cross across lines of petty differences to partner up to make sure we can move to where we need to get to so y'all can bicker with each other again. When I was a kid, I used to watch Royal Rumble, the WrestleMania event. And what they would do in the Royal Rumble, and for those that don't know, I don't know how old you are. I don't know if you know wrestling, but the Royal Rumble is basically when everybody in the WWE, then the WWF, gets in the ring and it's a king of the ring. You throw people out and the last man standing is the victor. So what they would always do early on, Tommy and crowd, is that everybody would gang up on the Andre the Giant because he's huge. They would gang up on the biggest people. And they would throw them out the ring first, and then they could commence to fighting each other. It's strategy. Anyway, sorry. I used to like wrestling as a kid. I know the world hates Hulk Hogan, but damn it, it was the late 80s, I loved Hulk Hogan, okay? All right? Not gonna act like I didn't. I can't rewrite history. I ain't gonna fake the funk. But you can be true to yourself while being strategic. That's all I'm saying. I can also tell who's who. When I walk into a room, I know who's who. I can spot the performance immediately. I can see the person who's genuinely excellent and just happens to be Black. I can see the person who's performing Black excellence for approval. I can see the person who's so busy trying to be quote unquote authentic that they've forgotten how to just be good at what they do. I can see the person who's figured it out, who's professional, excellent, strategic, and hasn't given these institutions access to their real selves. That last person, that's the one who's actually free. That's the one who has not put their self-worth into that job or to that school or to that group. And now it's social media clicks. They're not contorting themselves to be with the group that's quote unquote on the right side of history. I've been seeing it the last few years, but especially in these last few weeks since this whole Charlie Kirk thing. People are weeding themselves out because they're not confident and comfortable in who they are. Even if I disagree with everything about you, but I feel like you are authentic, there's a level of respect. I may not even like you, but there's a level of respect that we can have with each other. Because at least you're being authentic. There's a lot of inauthentic assholes out there, though. Here's what real Black excellence looks like. It's time to redefine it. Real Black excellence doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need validation from white spaces, corporate spaces, academic spaces, etc. It doesn't need to code switch to be taken seriously. Real Black excellence is youth in Oakland researching their own school and demanding change. Real Black excellence is parents being in power, not asking permission to advocate for their kids. Real Black excellence is building invisible institutions that serve our community, whether or not anybody's watching, whether or not racism has ended or not, or poverty is present or not. Real Black excellence makes people uncomfortable because it doesn't exist to comfort them. And so that leads us to some questions we need to ask. The question isn't, how do we achieve Black excellence? The question is, who are we being excellent for? If your excellence requires performing a version of yourself that makes the ruling class comfortable, that's not excellence, that's employment. And again, I have no judgment because employment is a real thing. Take it from somebody who was actually homeless when his father was no longer employed. Hey, bruh, go be employed, bruh, because we got to go back to a soup line if you don't. So I have no judgment. I just want to get some clarity out there for y'all. There's nothing wrong with that, man. We all need jobs. We all navigate systems. But let's call it what it is. Now, this is what I believe in thoroughly. I call this awareness, navigation, and duty. And this is where my framework comes in. Awareness means recognizing the difference between excellence and performance, knowing when you're being excellent and when you're being expected to perform. Be aware first. Navigation means making strategic choices about when to perform and when to be real. Sometimes you code switch to survive. That's smart. But know what you're doing and why, so it does not suck every ounce of your soul, because you will look in that cup and your soul will be gone. Poof. Duty means not letting the performance become who you are. Duty means staying connected to the community. Duty means using whatever platform you've built to make it easier for the next person to be genuinely excellent without having to cosplay. I want you to be the next Benjamin Banneker, not wear his costume. I want you to be the next Frederick Douglass, not wear his mask. I want you to be the next Fannie Lou Hamer, not just shadowbox with her. So you need to now understand that there's a wisdom of separation. There's wisdom in keeping your work life and your real life separate. Not because you're ashamed, not because you're code switching, but because you're being strategic and you're preserving your own humanity. These companies don't deserve your authentic self. Your authentic self is valuable. It's precious. It's for your loved ones, your community, the people who actually see you. And this is the game that elders used to give. This is what OGs used to tell you. But in this new TikTok, Twitter X, Instagram world, they too busy putting on their own damn mask to educate. Because everybody need these likes. I need them on this damn podcast. to a certain degree, but whether 10 people hear this or 10 million hear it, I'm giving you some honest to God's truth. Because I'm still a firm believer that cream will eventually rise to the top, even if it takes a little bit longer in this social media excessive ass world. Work gets your professionalism. Work gets your excellence. Work gets your results. That's enough. That's more than enough. Change out work for school. Change that out for whatever social club you're talking about. Change that out for your online community. They don't get to, don't just give them all of you. That's way too valuable and precious. But you got to know that first. What we should be telling our young people is the truth. You don't need to perform blackness to prove you're black. You ain't got to prove you black to nobody. You ain't got to prove you Mexican to nobody. You ain't got to prove you Italian to nobody. I used to live in Kentucky. I know Appalachia. Like, I know poor white people. Like, I don't hate anybody. You ain't got to perform that for people. Real is real. You don't need to use every trending phrase to seem hip or authentic. Be natural. If it's something you naturally want to use, cool, use it. That's what it's there for. But I'm going to tell you, when you sound awkward as hell and we know that you're not from that, you don't need to give your employers access to your real self. You just need to be excellent, you need to be professional, and you need to be strategic. Save your authentic self for your people, for the spaces where you are actually safe, which I don't think exists, by the way. But I'm just saying, like, save that for your household, man. Save that for your friends that you've known since 5th grade. Let them have you. They've earned that. Save that to the people that actually see you. The bottom line is Black excellence is real. It is. Black achievement matters. It does. And I've been part of that. I've been a few first Blacks in a few different things. And I'm gonna tell you, it's awkward, right? Because on one level, like initially you're like really proud. And then in that quiet of like a room by yourself and you reflect and you like, damn, we still celebrating this shit? This is still happening? Yeah, y'all, slavery wasn't that long ago. Inconvenient truth. I know this administration wants to get rid of anything that is does not, just show America in the glowiness of all the lights. But I don't think that, I think America should embrace these things. I enjoy being an American. I truly do. I enjoy being a Black American. I traveled the world. I love some of the freedoms. I love the freedoms that I have here. I've been to places where they don't have those freedoms. I've been to places where making jokes about the political leader there could get you in real trouble. There are places around this globe where you will lose your life. So I get it. I'm just saying, don't believe what this social media microwave society has told you are the new norms. You need to start rejecting it. And when I do shows like this, I'm talking to y'all, but I'm also talking to myself. Okay? I'm not trying to preach at y'all. This is also a young man that is understanding the world around him and the changes that are happening. Black professionals, Black wisdom, all this stuff, true Black excellence does deserve celebration. But this performance version, where people are cosplaying, urban stuff and with broad slang and performing authenticity, that's not excellence. That's a trap. That's a hellscape. You've been listening to me this whole time. Don't that sound like hell to you? And the advice to bring your authentic self to work, also a trap. Don't just walk into the rat bucket. You know what I'm saying? At least make somebody push you. Be professional, people. Be excellent. Be great at what you do. Grow. Learn and lean on your performance and willingness for hard work. Be strategic and don't give all your intimacies away to corporations to the point where you have nothing left for the people that actually deserve it. Protect your authentic self. That's the real Black excellence. Mexican excellence, white excellence, old excellence, young excellence, straight excellence, gay excellence, whatever. The real freedom isn't performing authenticity in spaces that will weaponize it. Real freedom is being so secure in who you are that you don't need to perform it. Real freedom is understanding that work is work and your authentic self is yours to protect. Real freedom is being excellent without explanation, professional without performance, and successful without selling your soul. So next time someone tells you to bring your authentic self to work, ask yourself, do they deserve access to that? Or do they just want a performance that makes them comfortable? And whatever answer you come up with in your head, you just smile and nod and be on your way. And the next time you see someone performing Black excellence, whether it's trying too hard to be Black or trying too hard to be acceptable, remember, real recognizes real. And the emperor truly has no clothes. Thank you for listening to Color Commentary. We love to hear from you, so drop us an email at colorcommentarypod@gmail.com. That's colorcommentarypod@gmail.com. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star rating, share it on social media, and join us every Thursday for more Color Commentary with Dr. Cole. Peace.